So, why are men failing? Why are men failing? I'll keep it clean and simple. There's always been a concerted effort to make men fail. I know that sounds a little like, well, what? It makes no sense. There's always been a concerted effort to make men fail. So, I try to keep it as simple and as clean as possible. Concerted effort, what does that mean, concerted? It means a group. There was a group, people, like a concert, same concept, to see that men fail. It's almost that simple, but it's a bigger plan in place. And this is not a conspiracy. This is happening in real time. And I think that's what a lot of people are having issues with, is that they're seeing things in real time, so it's hard for them to know what's going on while it's happening. You know, like, talk about a tsunami. Tsunami is when there's an earthquake or something on one side of the world or whatever. The water level drops, so what happens is the water flows over that and it starts moving. Because you have that tsunami, that initial water that leaves the beach, right? It just leaves the beach. The beach is normally, let's say, up close, and now all of a sudden the beach just drops down. It's coming, right? It's not an if, it's a when. And when the tsunami comes, it's not this event. It slowly takes over the area. If you look up tsunamis and you see that they came in and they just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, they flood the whole area. Before you know it, within minutes, the whole area flooded with like maybe 5-6 feet of water. To be concerted effort to see men fail, there was a plan, and that plan is now and when you're inside of that tsunami, inside of that plan, you don't see it at that time because you're inside of it, right? But then later on, you look back and be like, oh, you see all the signs of the tsunami. Just like 10 years from now, or maybe even 5 years from now, you're going to start seeing the what happened, the plans of what happened years ago. You'll start, like right now, you're going to look back on 2025 and 2030 and be like, okay, it makes sense now, right? A lot of things make sense. That's why they always say, what did they say? Hindsight is 2020. Things make sense now. See, when you have people who have plans, a lot of people don't have plans for their life. So it's hard for them to envision somebody having a 30-year plan. I think I've read somewhere that China has like a 50, 100-year plan. Can you imagine a 50, 100-year plan, meaning whatever plan you're making now, you're not even going to see the results of it? It doesn't click in people's minds, right? So when you have a plan that big and for that length of time, you have to be slow and meticulous on how you're going to get to that 100-year plan. Some people don't, like right now is what, January? And some people are like, if I told them right now, what are you planning for Christmas? What are you planning for Halloween? You know, the kids going back to school. You're like, back to school? Kids ain't even out of school. For somebody to plan even a year out, it's like their minds are just like, I don't know what I'm going to eat for lunch or dinner or what's going to happen later or sooner. They have a problem with being able to plan that far out. So imagine planning something for the next 50 years, right? Like I'm 50. So the life expectancy for men my age in America, or men who like me in America, is about 30 years or about 80. So that's 30 years. So I got to have that 30-year plan of where I want to be, and I work my way backwards. Some people just can't understand that. So let's go back to why men are failing. There was a plan in place to ensure that we will get to where we are right now. There was a plan in place. When I graduated high school back in 1992, I know, right? 92, old man. He used to call him this kid. He used to call this dude Oldman. I'm an old man, right? I went to South Vocational Technical High School. Since it was a vocational technical high school, think about it. Anything that's a vocational or technical, they taught it in that school. Plumbing, electricity, commercial baking, mechanics, carpentry, bricklaying, all the type of manual labor jobs, they taught at that school. There wasn't a manual labor job they didn't teach at that school. Because I went some of them classes. They had an auto body class, taught you about auto body and welding, and I did all those things. I did the welding, I did the commercial baking, I was in the mechanics class, and also I did electronics. Those are all the things I did in one high school. One high school had all that. That school closed, I think, maybe a couple years after I graduated. I don't know how many years. I have to look that up, but it probably won't. But it's closed. Let's just say that school's closed. It was a vocational technical high school. They closed that school. So what happens? People go to tech schools. Tech schools started closing. What do you have now? You have this big group of people who don't have those vocational technical skills. I was just watching a video about West Virginia and the coal mines and how they all closed up. In West Virginia, they just gone through it. And all these old towns and stuff like that are just like zombie towns. Even Pittsburgh, the town I'm from, they can call it a zombie town. And what do you mean by a zombie city? A zombie town, those are towns because they were smaller. Zombie cities, they call them zombie cities. Zombie cities are cities that are just barely surviving. They're not growing, they're not going down, they're just there. That's why they call them zombie cities. Look it up. I don't gotta make this stuff up. You can always check what I say, because I don't gotta make this stuff up. I'm just a researcher. That's what I do. I say that to say this was a plan. Men are failing because this was a plan. This was a plan. But they would say, well, why would men fail? Why would they want men to fail? It's above your pay grade. See, people can only think on a level that they can think on. So if you think on this level, but the plan is on this level, you can't think. It's hard for you to get up to that level, because you're like, well, why would they, and why would they, and why would they, and why? Because you're thinking here and the plan is up here. Like, especially in the military, they say it all the time. It's above your pay grade. It's like, well, why are they doing that? And why are the drones in the air in New Jersey and this, that, and the other? It's above your pay grade. You don't need to know. It's above your pay grade. So you're like, so they want people to fail? Yeah, they want men to fail. But why would they want that? It's above your pay grade. Don't ever get that twisted. A lot of things are above your pay grade. You'll never understand. There are people who want things to happen because they want things to happen, because it's above your pay grade. But it doesn't make sense. But it doesn't make sense. Why are houses like 9 times as much as they should be? Above your pay grade. Why are things more expensive and people losing jobs? And it's like, nobody cares. And why are eggs more expensive? It's above your pay grade. So when it comes to men failing, this was a part of someone's plan. This is a part of the plan. Like the Joker said in Batman, it's just all part of the plan. You see, you're not part of it. And that's why you don't know what's going on. You're not part of the plan. Right? Even when you have kids, and you have a plan of what you're going to do, or, the whole elf on the shelf, or just random things, whatever. And they don't understand why you're doing things. Why are we doing this and doing that? And you're just like, just do what I told you to do. But I don't understand, but just do what I told you to do, right? Because the kids are here and you're up here, right? Because you're just like, and then they find out later, it all adds up, and it's like, oh, that's why you told us to go do that and this. Because now it adds up, right? But it's never going to add up. Because now we're talking about adults. We're not talking about kids and their parents. We're talking about adults. It's not going to add up. You think it is, and it's not. It's not. So, why do they want men to fail? There's a bigger plan in place. It's not a conspiracy and all this other stuff. No, because you can walk around and literally see men failing. On huge numbers of men failing. There are also businesses closing, and bad things are going on, but that's part of the plan, and you're not part of the plan, so you don't know what the plan is. But why would they? You're not part of the plan. So you want a solution? Glad you asked. The solution is to reset. You need to reset your mind for what's going on right now, not trying to grasp and figure out what's going to happen in the future. You got to deal with real time. What can I do right now to improve my life? Instead of looking at 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, you need to be looking at, like, right now, what can I do? If you're in a bad situation, you need to be looking at right now, what can I do to make my life better? And that's why I offer the reset. The reset gives you a place to sit back, look at your life, and see what you need to do to make things better for yourself. You need to be selfish. These are selfish times right now. We don't have the luxury of doing, times are totally different. Traditions are gone. The American dream was barely hanging on with a thread the last 20 years. So you need to reset. That's why I offer a reset, because you're going to need that. The old ways of thinking are gone. Men are failing because they want men to fail. Through continuously putting women over top of men, particularly black men, that's their plan. You're like, they, who's the they? Just say who they are. What are you going to do? You going to go and arrest them? You going to go and arrest the they? Huh? You going to go and arrest them? If I said Peter Schützenberg and I said Mark Schmitz and Mike Jackson, right? You gonna go arrest them? You think the plan is just them? You think the plan is just like 3 people? You don't think the plan is bigger than that? Like once we stop them, then everything else is gonna be okay? This ain't the movies. This is a concerted effort, which means there are groups of people who wants to see this system fail, particularly men. Why do you think most of the good jobs are overseas? Because they want cheaper labor. It's all about capitalism. Men are failing primarily for capitalism. Let's be very clear with each other. It's about money. At the end of the day, it's about money. But you don't want to hear that part. No, okay. Keep believing what you want to believe. I'm telling you to do a reset. I'm telling you it's time for a reset. You need to rethink what you're doing. You need to reset what you're doing. Because what you're doing is not working. If it is working, great. If it's not working, time for a reset. And that's why men are failing. Capitalism, and it is a concerted plan. I'm out.